Okay, so in the last video, I talked about art and experiment. Well, of course, I talked about art. I talked about art experimentation and changing things up. You switch up the paper, switch up the pen. I was just thinking some art experimentation or like challenge videos. It might lead to an interesting video. For example, my friend sent me a video and he said, you should try doing this. And it was someone doing one, like you don't raise the pen for the whole drawing. Another idea that I've had recently was doing kind of an art and technology collab of some kind. I don't know what yet. Maybe an animation, maybe a short game, maybe just an interactive thing of some kind. But I don't want to go off course because something like that might end up hindering my ability to post these videos as frequently as possible. Usually the drawings are about 45 minutes and that leads to a good time lapse. I'll be 30 minutes into a drawing and I'll think, hey, this thing looks pretty done, but I should probably keep going for another 15 minutes or so. And I don't even do that intentionally. It's almost subconscious, which is not great. But anyways, lately I've been trying to do like full page doodles. Maybe this video will have a full page doodle or the last video will have a full page doodle as the art. I've been really struggling with making full page doodles. I feel like I've somehow forgotten how to do them or something. My perspective just seems to be off. They never seem to be full page-y enough. I'm not sure. One thing that really bothers me about uploading things online is the fact that Instagram would prefer a perfectly square photo. So I try to make most of my art perfectly square. Sometimes I'll post a square version of an image on Instagram and then I'll post a non-square version on like ArtStation and DeviantArt. When I was a kid, I used to wake up in the mornings and I would wake up at like 5 a.m. I was like setting my alarm to wake up earlier. So I'd wake up at 5 in the morning, and I remember the first cartoon that would pop up would be the one cartoon that I wanted to watch the most, which was the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show. And that would play for half an hour or whatever it was. And then it would go on to the more modern cartoons, which were also good, and I would watch those for as long as I could. It's kind of crazy that when you're a kid, you'll wake up at like 5 a.m. just to watch cartoons. I mean, these days that seems a little bit ridiculous because people can just stream stuff and whatnot. But then, like, if you wanted to see those cartoons, you had to wake up and you had to see them on TV, It was worth it. Those dang cartoons. They got me. I mean, now I don't watch cartoons so much. Invincible, have you guys seen that? I haven't watched season 2, don't spoil it, but season 1, that was really good. Haven't got around to season 2 yet. I don't know why, because it's gonna get spoiled for me if I don't watch it. So I really should just watch it before it gets spoiled. I've heard good things. Sometimes a second season or a new season of a show that's highly anticipated will come out, and people don't even notice it come out. And I don't know if that's like a marketing issue or if it's because they just waited too long and the hype died down. I'm not really sure what causes that. I had a bit of a memory, a little bit of a note here of a memory. I remember sitting in grade 1 or 2 class, and I vividly remember in this memory I was looking up at the clock and I was watching the clock tick. I don't know why. It was pretty epic, kind of like a movie scene. But I remember I would pop my ears when I was a little kid, and for some reason at the time, I didn't realize, I was like, maybe other people can do this, but if they can't, maybe I got supersonic hearing, because you pop your ears and everything get twice as loud. I thought I had a superpower. I thought I was some sort of superhero, but it turns out I'm just a regular guy, which is unfortunate, I guess. I mean, it would have been nice to have supersonic hearing. That would have been kind of cool. I don't really know what I would do with that. Yeah, one thing that has never changed ever since I was a little kid is my organization and my forgetfulness. Those two things have always been complete garbage. My organization has always been terrible. I remember the first time that I got a locker at school. I don't know what grade you get a locker in, but that thing was a disaster. I'm pretty sure I just had a pile of just papers and books just like at the bottom of the thing. Like I will be at a meeting or something and they'll say, all right, I'll see you on this day, and we'll set up an appointment or something. And then I swear, the second that I'm like walking away from that meeting or something, I would completely forget about the appointment. It's already out of my head. The worst thing is when I first wake up. That's like an inevitable slate wipe right there. When I first wake up in the morning, it takes me about 15 minutes to fully remember what happened before I went to bed. But as a solution, more notes. I think taking notes, like the guy from Memento, by the way, great movie, Memento. Probably talk about all my favorite movies at some point in a future video. But yeah, Memento, great movie. You should watch it. Christopher Nolan, I think. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, in that movie, there's a guy and his memory is terrible. And he actually has a problem. I don't know, like amnesia. But he has tattoos and notes all around his room and all over his body to help him remember what happens day by day. Definitely worth a watch. Anyways, I'm rambling about it. Every morning I start my day like this. I wake up. I stumble out of bed. Usually it might take me a whole half an hour to roll out of bed eventually. I'm usually just staring at the ceiling, like I said, trying to remember what day it is, who I am. I get out of bed and I think to myself, I need 2 or maybe 3 things. And that is a coffee, to sit down at the computer and catch myself up with any sort of, or on my phone even, just catch myself up with any messages or anything. And finally, a cigarette, which is not a great habit, and nobody should do it. But that's usually how it goes. And then once I've crossed those things off my list, my brain is like, it's time to work. It's time to get down. Charlie Brown. What am I saying? Oh yeah. So that's how I start my days. How do I end my days? Quite simple. I sit in my computer chair usually. I'm working on a project, or I'm playing a video game sometimes, or I'm sitting in a voice call, or I'm sitting there in my own silence just watching a video, maybe. And then eventually this tiredness starts to wash over me. And eventually I am so tired that I hit a point where it's a point of no return. And I have about a half an hour to an hour gap to mentally clue into it and take myself to my bed, or else I will pass out in my chair. It's a very short window of time. So usually as soon as that tiredness kicks in, I'm like, I guess this is it. And I move to the bed. And then I pass out. Or I pass out in my chair, and then I wake up in my chair, and every single time that I wake up, I basically just hope that I'm rested enough to be slightly more awake to be able to move myself to my bed. Which I know that doesn't sound too crazy, like it sounds like ridiculous, because my bed is only about like 10 or 12 feet away from my chair. So it shouldn't be that hard, but yeah, tiredness can really take over me. And then eventually, when I'm sleeping, when I'm laying there, if all goes well, then everything will go